Assalamualaikum everyone. Acha, the mock has been uploaded. You guys can check. You will find a link in the description. You will find it there. कल जिम किस टाइम It's empty. Check कर लें मैंने अभी upload किया है. Should be there now. If it's empty, just close the link and open it again. It should be there. Can anyone double check? It's empty. Are you guys sure? It's there? Okay, there you go. Alright, so you guys can start. No cheating, remember. Okay, मैं बस ज़रा एक मैसेज टाइप कर लूँ. मॉक फॉर P3. हाँ, P3 की स्ट्रीम्स इंशाल्लाह कल से स्टार्ट है. ठीक है, चलें. I'll leave you guys to it. Good luck. I'll give you guys exactly 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'll set a timer and after that we will discuss it. ठीक है, मैं चैट बंद कर रहा हूँ वरना आप लोग जो हैं वो चीटिंग करते रहते हैं. ठीक है, so good luck once again. See you guys in around an hour and 15 minutes. अभी हो रहे हैं 4:05. So probably around 5:20. Okay, 5:20, 5:25 we will connect. Okay, so take care fellas. See you in an hour and 15 minutes. Assalamu alaikum everyone. क्या हाल है आप लोगों के? So how was the mock? Easy? PNC आसान भी आसान था इस पेपर का. We weren't sure if it will count or not. मेरा तो easy paper, yeah, I know. So first paper, you guys know I always make the first paper easy, right? Sir, I am cooked. एक तो जितना भी आसान पेपर बना लो, कोई ना कोई का किसी ना किसी का ये रिएक्शन ज़रूर होता है. Okay, this was the first mock, and I do plan on taking another one, most likely tomorrow. So I'll definitely make that more difficult. Sir, एक मुश्किल पेपर, हाँ कल दूंगा मुश्किल इंशाल्लाह. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट पेपर. अच्छा ये बताएं कल आप लोगों का पेपर है, और अगर है तो कौन सा है? अच्छा, सो हमारे पास क्या है? हमारे पास कल का दिन है, हमारे पास 13th है और हमारे पास 14th है. 13th को तो सिलेबस रन थ्रू होगा. कल का दिन है, नहीं कल 12th है. 13th 12, सो वी हैव 12th एंड 13th. 14th है ना पेपर? बिजनेस, ठीक है. तो कल आई वाज थिंकिंग ऑफ कीपिंग अ टॉपिक रिलेटेड स्ट्रीम. A lot of people reached out asking for discrete random variable. Discrete random variable pending है, and अच्छा what about this? चलें ठीक है, फिर मैं सॉर्ट आउट करता हूँ. और ये बताएं, डू यू गाइस हैव अ पेपर ऑन द 13th और ऑन द 14th? नहीं, 14th को तो वो है. डू यू गाइस हैव अ पेपर ऑन द 13th? टेल मी इफ यू हैव अ पेपर ऑन द 13th. You will find the paper, there's a link in description, you'll find it there. 13th? No. 15th की तो खैर है ना. S1 कब है? S1 तो 14th को है ना. Let me just quickly confirm. Accounting. चलें ठीक है. So I'll try and come up with a win-win. The stream might clash with somebody's paper. If that's the case, please watch it after you're done with the exam. Okay, I will definitely try and come up with a win-win situation. But if it does clash, then, well, you can watch it after the stream. Okay? Can you please do answers first? No, I'm going to discuss it in detail. Okay? If you have a problem with that, then you can watch the stream once it ends. And once it ends, I'll upload the solved paper also. Okay? But I will be discussing everything in detail. Anyway, so I'm going to start now. I want you guys to pay attention. And also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And also, like the stream if you haven't done that yet. Okay? So let's start with probability. The very first question. Box A contains 7 red balls and 1 blue ball. Alright. Box B contains 9 red balls and 5 blue balls. A ball is chosen at random from box A and placed in box B. Alright, so make sure that you read the question very carefully, because you don't just choose a ball at random from box A and then you choose a ball at random from box B. A ball is then chosen at random from box B. So you choose one from A, you place it in B, and then you choose it from B. Okay. The tree diagram below shows the possibility for the colors of the ball chosen. Okay, so let's start with box A. As far as red is concerned, red would simply be 7 upon 8. Okay, so let's write that down. The probability of choosing a red ball would be 7 upon 8. As far as blue is concerned, blue would simply be 1 upon 8. There you go. Okay, now here's the thing. If you take a red ball from box A and you place it in box B, so that means while this decreases, but as far as the number of red balls in box B is concerned, that will go up. So that means now the probability of getting a red ball from box B will be 10. Okay, and the total will also be 15. Okay, so the total will increase. All right. Then as far as blue is concerned, so the number of blue balls remain the same, so that's 5. Okay. And as far as the total is concerned, the total is 15. Okay. Now, if you, however, take out a blue ball from box A, so that will increase the number of blue balls in box B because you're going to place it in box B then, and the probability of getting a blue ball from box B would be 6 upon 15. Okay, it's always a good idea to write the color first. Write the color which you're going to place in the box first, and then what about red? Red would be equal to 9 upon 15. 9 upon 15. Now, why would it be 16? There are already 14 balls. 9 plus 5, that's 14. If you add 1 to it, so that's going to make the total 15. Okay? I would appreciate कि अगर आप लोग लड़े नहीं आपस में. ठीक है, let's just focus on what the question says. Find the probability that the two balls chosen are not the same color. So this can happen so many ways. This can happen, you can pick red, blue, you can pick, actually not too many ways, just 2 ways, red, blue and blue, red. That's it. So we need to find out the probability that we get red and blue, or means plus the probability of blue and red. Okay. So red, blue would be 7 upon 8 into 5 upon 15. Let's write that down. 7 upon 8 into 5 upon 15. Plus, now don't just multiply it by 2 because the probabilities will not remain the same. Blue, red, so that means 1 upon 8 into 9 upon 15. 1 upon 8 into 9 upon 15. Okay, so let's work this out. 7 times 5 is 35. 35 over 8 into 15. Achha, why am I not using a calculator? So 8 times 15, that's equal to 120. Plus 9 over 120. So 35 plus 9, that's 44. 44 over 120. A good idea would be to simplify it. Okay? Although if the question is silent, it's up to you. But simplify kari lo. It's not like you have to do it mentally or manually. Your calculator will do that for you. So the answer is 11 upon 30. Okay, so smooth sailing so far. Now part C. Part C says find the probability that the box chosen from box A is blue, given that the ball chosen from box B is blue. Okay, interesting. Find the probability that the ball chosen from box A is blue, given that the probability that the ball chosen from box B is blue. Okay. पहले तो जरा इसको जरा let's write it in words. Okay. So we have to find out the probability that from box A we get blue, okay, given that we also get blue from box B, okay, which means that this would be equal to probability of getting a blue ball from box A intersection probability of getting a blue ball from box B divided by the probability of getting a blue ball from box B. ठीक हो गया? Okay. Now, let's start by finding out the probability of getting a blue ball from box B. Okay. So how many ways can that happen? That can happen multiple ways. You can get red from box A and blue from box B, or you could get blue from box A and basically means multiply blue from box B also. Okay. So let's replace and instead with multiply. Okay. So what's the probability of getting red from A and blue from B? So that's 7 upon 8 into 5 upon 15. Okay, so 7 upon 8, we've already done this, into 5 upon 15. All right, plus the probability of getting blue from A and blue from B. So 1 upon 8 into 6 upon 15. So 1 upon 8 into 6 upon 15. Let's work this out. 7 times 5 is 35. 35 plus 6, what's that equal to? That's equal to 41 upon 120. Okay, let's just keep it like this for now. Then let's find out the probability of getting blue from A into the probability of getting blue from B. Okay, so basically the numerator. Let's find out the numerator. Achha, I'm not looking at your questions right now. First let me solve this, then I'll take your questions. Okay, so ये basically simple सा होगा. ये होगा blue from A into blue from B, which I think we've already worked out. We've already worked that out. That's basically right here. Okay, so that's equal to 6 upon 120. So that's it. It's all downhill from here. 6 upon 120, fable outcome, divide by total, which is 41 upon 120. So 120, 120 cancels. And we have 6 upon 41 as the answer. Okay, so you really don't want to lose marks in questions like these because they're very easy. And in most of the cases, the question from probability is fairly easy. Acha, what's that? Afternoon, sir, it's 1 a.m. for me. Will this be uploaded? Yeah, every stream will be uploaded. Okay, so what's the point of finding entirety of blue if it already says A and B both need to be blue? Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Guys, I can't understand the tree diagram. How did we know box A से red ball निकाल कर box B में डालेंगे तो red increase होगी, blue नहीं? बेटा जब red निकाल रहे हो, so you've answered your own question. If you're taking a red ball and you're putting that in box B, so obviously the red one will increase. Okay, if you're drawing it after red, that means from box A you've already taken out a red ball. Okay, so the number of red balls will increase while the blue remain the same. Okay. However, if you're taking out a blue ball from box B and you're putting it in from box A and you're putting it in box B, so obviously the number of blue balls will go up. Okay. Sir, it's not 6 upon 20. Nope, but this is the answer. 6 upon 41 is the answer. Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with what Ayan says because I've done a very detailed stream on probability. Okay, I've done a very detailed stream on probability. If you guys are struggling with questions like these, it's lack of effort. It's not lack of concept, it's lack of effort. Okay, so there are so many streams that I've done similar to this. I think I've solved this entire question also in that stream. So I would strongly encourage you guys to check it out. Okay, check out my stream on probability. 6 upon 41 is the answer. There are no two ways about it. Okay? Yeah, I agree. It was an easy paper. A summary of n values of x gave the following information. The mean of n values of x is 45. All right. So we're given the mean. Now, how would the mean of n values be calculated? The mean of n values would be summation x upon n is equal to 24.25. Okay. Now, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to find out the value of n. Okay. Now, there are a lot of approaches that you can use over here. Okay. So, for example, what I'm thinking is that you can use the approach. Okay, let's use this approach. Let's take this apart. So basically, summation x minus 20 is equal to 136. That means the new mean, okay, if you were to calculate this is the old mean. Now the new mean after subtracting 20 from it would be what? Would be 20 less than the answer. Okay, so for example, here's what you can do. That's one approach, and here's another approach. If you're subtracting 20 and you're subtracting 20 from n values, what does that mean? That means summation x minus 20n is equal to what? Is equals to 136. Okay, why 20n? Because you're subtracting 20 from n values. And can you find out the value of summation x? Yes, you can. Summation x is equals to 24.25. So you plug that in over here. So 24.25n. 24.25n minus 20n is equals to 136. So let's work this out. 24.25 minus 20, that's equal to 4.25. So 4.25n is equals to 136. Sorry, not 135, 136. So 136 divided by answer, and you have the value of n, which is equal to 32. Okay. There you go. That's the answer. I'll go over this again. So if you're subtracting 20 and then you're adding up the values, that means your new sum will be old sum minus 20 times n less. Okay, I repeat. So you're subtracting 20, and how many values are you subtracting 20 from? You're subtracting 20 from n values. That means your new sum, which is 136, is basically a result of summation x minus the value that you're subtracting and the number of values that you're subtracting from, which is equal to 20. So summation x minus 20n is equal to what? Is equals to 136. Why? Because 20 has been subtracted from how many values? N values. So that means the entire sum will go down by 20n. Now what's the old sum? We can find out the old sum using this. So just simply cross multiply. Now, replace this with 24.25 minus 20n as it is equals to 136. Solve it, get your answer. ठीक है, ये तो बहुत टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है. ठीक है, let's, there is another approach also. अच्छा, ये जो है ना, let me tell you guys, this is all about this particular concept. This particular concept, majority of it is about formulas. So here's what I would advise you guys to do. So download my formulas, download my notes in which I've written all these formulas. Old variance equals to new variance, okay? And there's another formula also that I've written. Yeah, this formula also, very important. Okay. And also this. Also this. Okay. We can use this formula also. So go over my, download my notes. You'll find them on the website mathletebysart.com for absolutely free. Achha, I'll show you guys another approach. It's all about how you've done it initially. Okay, if you've done it a certain way, then I would suggest you stick to that. If you haven't done it the way that I'm doing it, then there's no problem. You can do it some other way. Okay. So what's the new mean going to be? The new mean will be 24.25 minus 20. Okay. So if you want to calculate the new mean, here's how you will calculate the new mean. The new mean would be equal to 136 upon n. Okay. Minus 20. Okay, and what's this going to be equal to? This will be equal to 24.25. Okay, why? Because notice the question says, yeah, but wait a minute. That's the old mean. From that, if we subtract, no, sorry, ulta kar diya. So what's the old mean? The old mean is 24.25. Achha, I personally don't like this approach. I like the other approach, so that's why I'm a bit rusty in this approach. So 24.25 is the old mean. Okay. From that, if you subtract, what do you subtract? If you subtract 20, okay, you get the new mean. And what's the new mean equal to? The new mean will be equal to 136 upon n. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So you get the exact same thing. You get 4.25, n is equals to 136. Solve this, n is equals to 32. What's the answer? Yep, n is equals to 32. There you go. So this is an alternative method. So I'll upload both the methods, and please revise this. This topic is something that's not tested very often, but when it's tested, it's actually very easy. Okay, so you shouldn't be losing marks in this particular concept. It's very easy, and I think I have videos on it. Yeah, I do have videos on it. This, by the way, goes by the name of coded mean. Coded mean, or it also goes by the name of linear transformation of data. Okay, coded mean, coded variance, or linear transformation of data. All right, now summation x square. Summation x square. Achha, how will we find out summation x square? Once again, let's refer to the notes. So here's the deal. Here is the deal. Once again, this is a very important formula right here. Old variance equals to new variance, which means here. Old variance equals to new variance. Variance remains the same. Whether you add something or subtract, it remains the same. Okay? Okay, now. What's n is equals to? We know that n is equals to 32. So this n is basically equal to what? This n is basically equal to summation f. Okay. Now, if you do wish to find out the variance, here's what you're going to do. Summation x square divided by n, which is equal to 32, minus the old mean. Okay. And what's the old mean? The old mean is equals to 24.25, square of that. Okay, now this will be equal to what? This will be equal to the new mean, new variance. Okay, and how will you calculate the new variance? You will take the new sum, which is equal to 2,888, divided by summation f, which is still equal to 20. And from this, you will subtract what? From this, you will subtract summation x plus minus a, meaning the values with all the terms, the values after you've added or subtracted a certain term, which is 136. And then you will divide it by the frequency, which is 32, and don't forget to square it. Okay? Acha, what's this equal to? Let's have a look. 24.25 squared, that's equal to 588.0625. 588.0625 is equal to, let's work this out, 2888 divided by 32 minus, open a bracket, 136 upon 32, close the bracket, the whole thing square. That's equal to 72.1875. Now remember, this is this minus. Okay. Now when you take this across the equals to sign, it will be added. So let's do that. In this, let's add 5. Yeah, you can put 4.25 instead. That's perfectly all right. अभी मैं 4.25 डाल देता तो लोग बोलते हैं 4.25 कहाँ से आया? So 588 plus 0.0625 into 32. What's that equal to? That's equal to summation x square is equal to 21,128. There you go. Okay. So 3 easy marks. So all this working for 3 marks. Not bad. All right. So far, anyone who's getting full marks so far? Just say yes. Question number 3. Let's see what question 3 says. The random variable x takes the values 1, 2, 3, 4 only. All right. Okay, after that, the probability that x takes the value x is k times x into 5 minus x, where k is a constant. Draw up the probability distribution table for x in terms of k. All right, so here we have to draw it in terms of k. I was asking about when we have like a stem and leaf diagram. Please repeat your question. I don't know what your question is, so just repeat your question. Instead of telling me to answer your question, just repeat your question. Okay. So we have to draw up the probability distribution table for what? For x in terms of k. So that means, what are the values that x can take? X will be equal to 1. So if x is equal to 1, that means it's going to be k times 1 times 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. So that's equal to 4k. Okay, when x is equals to 2, that means it's going to be k times 2 into 5 minus 2. What's that? That's equal to 3. So 3 times 2, that's equal to 6k. Similarly, when x is equals to 3, so that means k times 3 into 5 minus 3, which is equal to 2. So that's also equal to 6k. All right. Similarly, when x is equals to 4, so that's going to be k times 4 into 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. So that's also equal to 4k. Okay, so here's how this works. So here are all the x values, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's space them out nicely. Okay, and here are their respective probabilities. So what's the probability of 1? That's 4k. What's the probability of 2? That's 6k. What's the probability of 3? That's also 6k. What's the probability of 4? That's also 4k. Okay. My writing is lagging. Internet का पता नहीं क्या मसला हुआ है आजकल. But let me know if it's lagging, and if it's not, then also let me know. Sir, do they hand out pretty marks for writing down the formula? No, formulas are given. Sir, if we get nth term for quartiles, assuming 8.5. Okay, so here, अच्छा जो भी आपका नाम है, okay, whatever your name is, here's the deal. So for finding out upper quartile and lower quartile, here's what you need to do. Please don't use that formula. That formula is just a pain, where you do n plus 1 into 3 upon 4 into 1 upon 4. Don't use that formula. To find out the lower quartile, divide your data into half. The median of the first half is equal to your lower quartile. The median of the second half is equal to upper quartile. I'm afraid I don't have a video on it, okay? But please do it like that. Divide your data into half by finding the median. Once you found the median, so all the values on the left-hand side of the median is your first half. All the values on the right-hand side of the median is your second half. Median of the first half is lower quartile. Median of the second half is upper quartile. Okay, use that formula. Please don't use that n plus 1 into 3 upon 4 into 1 upon 4. Don't use that formula. Okay? All right, show that variance of x is equals to 1.05. It's a 4-mark question, so let's earn all these 4 marks. So let's first find out the expected value of x. How will you find out the expected value of x? बेटा फॉर्मूला में यही फिर आप परेशान होते रहेंगे कि 8.75 आ गया तो क्या करें, 8.25 आ गया तो क्या करें. That's the problem if we use the formula. So 1 into, अच्छा, first let's find out the value of k. I just realized that I forgot to find out the value of k. So 4k plus 6k plus 6k plus 4k, that's equal to 1. Okay, so 10, 10, 20, 20k is equal to 1, k is equals to 1 upon 20. Okay, so if k is 1 upon 20, अजीब है यार, पहले ही k की वैल्यू निकलवा के in terms of k के बजाय actual values में निकलवा देता, लेकिन नहीं, तंग करना है बस. So 4 upon 20, 6 upon 20, 6 upon 20, 4 upon 20. ठीक है. Now, summation, expected value of x. So x into p of x, that means 1 into 4 upon 20. All right, we'll probably run out of space. Actually, no, let's be efficient. Plus 2 into 6 upon 20, plus 3 into 6 upon 20, plus 4 into 4 upon 20. Okay, now if you guys want to stick to your method, and given that you have 100% command on it, as far as quartiles are concerned, go ahead. But I wouldn't, that's not a method that I teach, because that leaves a lot of students confused. So let's see, what do we get? We get this to be equal to 4 plus 12 plus 18 plus 16 divided by 20. So this is equal to 2.5. Okay, now how do we find out the variance? The variance of x will be equal to 1 squared. So the square of every value multiplied by the probability. So 1 squared into 4 upon 20 plus 2 squared into 6 upon 20 plus 3 squared into 6 upon 20 plus 4 squared into 4 upon 20. Okay, and from this, we will subtract the mean squared. Okay, so you guys can do it. You guys can do the simplification part. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. Okay, but make sure that you show you're working. So you should get 1.05. There you go. Okay. So अगर 8.27 आएगा तो 8 लेंगे. बेटा 8.27 नहीं आएगा. You will always find yourself in between 0.25 or 0.75. Okay, and that is when it gets complicated. That is when you have to count whether it's an odd number of terms or even number of terms. So I don't recommend that. I don't use that method. I don't teach that method. I don't know how that method works. Okay, I always do it by dividing the data into half. Okay, that's the method that I recommend also. All right, question number 4. So you're going to give us a general idea, in what case do we know how many significant? If the answer is non-exact, meaning that if the decimals continue forever, in that case, you're supposed to write it correct to 3 significant figures. But if in between there are values that you need in order to make further calculations, okay, an answer is not a final answer, in that case, you need, write 5 significant figures. Okay, but round off when you get to the very end, correct to 3 significant figures. Okay, now, where is the mark scheme for the mock paper? Okay, so we're solving it right now. Okay, and once I've solved it, I'll upload it in the same folder. Okay, so please be a little patient. No need to rush. All right, now we have ourselves a permutation combination question. Okay, let's see what this question says. Find the number of different arrangements of the 9 letters in the word delivered in which the 3 E's are together and the 2 D's are not next to each other. So we've done questions like these. In fact, I solved I'm not sure if it was this question, but I solved a question very similar to this yesterday. So the 3 E's are together. We're going to put them in a box, and the 2 D's are not next to each other. So we're going to put them in a box also. Okay, so first we're going to find out the number of ways that E's are together. Okay, that's not how you spell together. All right, how many letters are we dealing with? We're dealing with 9 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so as we put the 3 E's together, that would be 3 factorial divided by 3 factorial. ठीक हो गया? Okay, do we have to worry about any other repetition? Yeah, we do. Okay, so D occurs a total of how many times? D occurs a total of 2 times. So I guess that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3 factorial upon 3 factorial for the e's into 7 factorial divided by 2 factorial for the d's. Any other letter that's occurring twice? E occurs 3 times. We've dealt with that. L occurs once. I occurs once. V occurs once. R occurs once. D occurs twice. We've dealt with that. Okay. So 3 factorial upon 3 factorial into 7 factorial upon 2 factorial. So let's work this out. Let's see what do we get. 7 factorial divided by 2 factorial, that's equal to 2520. Now let's put the e's together and let's put the d's together also. E's together and let's put the d's together also. So once again, very similar working. We'll put the d's in a box. So D. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now here we don't have to worry about any repetitions. Okay. Here we don't have to worry about any repetitions. So 3 factorial upon 3 factorial into 2 factorial upon 2 factorial into 6 factorial. So that's basically as good as 6 factorial, which is equal to 720. So finally the answer will be 2520 minus 720. And what's that equal to? 2520 minus 720. That's equal to 1800. There you go. So why not 6 factorial minus 7 factorial upon 2? Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. Okay, ultimately, that is what it boils down to. Okay. All right. Acha beta, I'm quite happy where I am. Let's not please start debating. So I'm going to have to hide you guys if you do that. Dekho, extra sheet is discouraged. Right, extra sheet is discouraged, and if, let's say, God forbid, you do run out of space, then in every past paper, you're given 1 extra page, so that should be enough. Okay. All right, this was worth 4 marks. Okay, this is worth 4 marks. All right. Now, part B. Part B says, find the probability that a randomly chosen arrangement of the 9 letters in the word delivered has exactly 4 letters between the 2 Ds. Okay, 4 letters between the 2 Ds. Let's see how that works. So, first of all, let's make 9 blanks. 1, 2, 3. Acha, ek kaam karte hain. Since we're talking about probability, okay, and still it's about arrangement, it's not combination. Okay, so let's first find out the total. Okay, so without having to, so that at least we can secure a few marks. So let's find out the total. The total would be equal to 9 factorial. Okay, and E occurs 3 times, so divide by 3 factorial. All right, and what occurs 3 times? D also occurs 3 times, so that would be 2 factorial. Okay, so let's work this out. So 9 factorial divided by 3 factorial into 2. So that's equal to 30,240. 30,240. ठीक हो गया? Okay. Now, find the probability that a randomly chosen letters of the 9 letters in the word delivered has exactly 4 letters between the 2 Ds. Now let's find out the number of ways that we can have 4 letters between the 2 Ds. Okay, let's find out how many ways we can have 4 letters between the 2 Ds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 4 letters between the 2 Ds. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here's a D, and then we leave 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here's D. Okay. Acha, first of all, let's see how many letters, how many blank spaces do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So for the 7 blank spaces, there will be 7 factorial. Acha, also don't forget that in these 7 spaces, or within these 7 letters, there are 3 E's. So we have to take that into account. So we divide by 3 factorial. Okay. Now, multiplied by, let's see what we should multiply it with. We need, because the question says that there's got to be 4 letters between the 2 Ds. So, but it's not necessary that the D is the first and the 6th letter. Okay, they can be in different places as well. As long as there are 4 letters between them, that's all that matters. So that means here's one way that you can have 2Ds with 4 letters in between. And here's the second, here's the third, here's the fourth. Okay, so that means you can have 2Ds with 4 letters in between 1, 2, 3, 4 ways. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to multiply this by 4. Okay, so let's work this out. But I did a detailed stream on permutation combination yesterday when I talked about when we consider repetition and when we don't. Okay, you're mixing this up with... So the thing is, you guys have just memorized 1 bit, okay, which makes it even more complicated for you. The only time we consider repetitions is when we're dealing with probability along with combinations. Okay, along with combinations. So please revise, please make sure that you guys revise permutations and combinations. Watch my yesterday stream. So this is equal to 3360. Now let's work it out. Let's see what do we get. So we get 3360 divided by 30,240. Okay, so divide by 30240. Okay, and that's equal to 1 upon 9. There you go. Okay, 1 upon 9 is the answer. And there you go. It's 4. Okay, it is 4. It's not 3, it's 4. There you go. 5 easy marks. Okay, 5 easy marks. And that's it. So I'll go over it again. Because it's probability. Again, you guys are not reading the question. It's probability. We're supposed to find out the probability. Okay, that's why. So I'll summarize it. If you guys don't get it, then please revise permutations and combinations. Okay, because I can only explain this question. I can't explain the concept behind it. So for that, I would recommend you that you revise permutations and combinations. So here's the deal. First of all, it says find the probability. And the mix-up, the confusion that when do we consider repetition and when not, that is when you are dealing with combinations. Okay, if you're dealing with combinations, only then do you have to consider repetitions. Okay, but I've already answered that question. We're dividing by total because it's probability. Probability is favorable upon total. Okay, so not only are you not reading the question, you're also not listening. Now, first of all, let's find out the total number of ways in which the word delivered can be arranged. So there are 9 letters, so that's 9 factorial. How many repetitions do we have? We have 1, 2, D occurs twice, so that's 2 factorial, and we have 3 E's, so that's 1, 2, 3. So we also divide by 3 factorial. Okay, now that's the total. Okay, so we put this on the side. We don't have to worry about it right now. Now the condition is that we need to have 4 letters between the 2 D's. So let's do one way. Let's write one way we can have 4 letters between the 2 D's. So here it is. You have 1 D, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 letters in between, and then you have the next D. Okay, so first let's talk about the remaining spaces. So we have 7 blank spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 factorial to take into account how many ways the letters in these blank spaces can be arranged. Divide by 3 factorial. Why is this divide by 3 factorial? Because of the 3 E's that you have. Okay, and why are we multiplying this by 4? We're multiplying this by 4 because the 2 D's with 4 letters in between them can be in multiple places. Okay, so for example, this is one way, this is the second way, this is the third way, and this is the fourth way. That's why we're multiplying it by 4. Okay, now this is the way to do it. There's no other way. So if you still don't understand, I would strongly suggest that you watch the stream in which I've taught this concept and also the past paper stream that I did yesterday. All right, now. So for 4 letters in between, you could do 7p4. Okay, if you do 7p4, and then what are you going to do next? If you do 7p4 here, okay, 7p4, and then you're going to do 3p3, what's that equal to? 7p4 into 3p3, agar aap karogi. Okay, so what's 7p4? 7p4 is 7 into 6 into 5 into 4. What's 3p3? 3p3 is 3 into 2 into 1. So what does this look like? Isn't this 7 factorial? Okay, so 7p4 into 3p3 is basically 7 factorial. All right, now, acha, what else? And shouldn't we multiply by 2 as 2 D's have? Beta, मुझे एक बात बताओ, अगर मैं इस D को और इस D को swap कर दूँ, so will that really make a difference? If I swap the D's, will that really make a difference? No, it won't. There you go. No, even if you do 7p4 into 3p3, you will still have to consider repeats. Okay, you still have to consider repeats. It's arrangement. So in arrangements, there is no scenario where in arrangement you don't consider repeats. You consider repeats every single time. The only time where if you're doing a probability question and let's say it's combination, that is when if you have two A's, we take them as two instead of one. Okay, so please watch yesterday's stream to se clear ho jayega. I can't explain both the concepts right now. I'll probably end up confusing you. Okay, or you'll probably end up confusing yourself. All right, now part C. Part C says 5 letters are selected from the 9 letters in the word delivered. Okay, so we're talking about selection right now. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about selection. So that means we have to deal with combination. Find the number of different selections if the 5 letters include at least one D and at least one E. All right, now please pay attention. अब जो गुजर गया वो गुजर गया, अब इस पे फोकस करें. ठीक है, वो अगर नहीं समझ आए तो बाद में दोबारा देख लेना. ठीक है, let's not sit here and debate. If I remember correctly, I think the answer is 25, but I could be wrong. ठीक है. So at least one D and at least one E. So let's start with one D and one E. One D and one E. ठीक हो गया. अच्छा, how many letters are we selecting? We're selecting 5. And this is not probability. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1D and 1E means that you have to remove all the D's from the word delivered, and you also have to remove all the E's. That means now you're down to 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 letters, and you have to choose how many? You have to choose 3. So that's 4C3. Okay, what's that equal to? Let's work it out. 4C3. That's equal to 4. Okay. अच्छा, अब एक काम करते हैं. Let's keep the D's fixed at 1. Let's keep increasing the E's. So let's bring this up to 2E. So if we select 1D and 2 E's, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means now once again we are down to 4 letters and we have to choose 2. So that's 4C2, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 6. Okay, now can we have 3 E's? Yes, we can. So 1D and 3 E's. So D, E, E, E. Okay, so once again, we're down to 4 letters, but this time we only have to choose 1, so that's 4. Okay, it's going to take a while. Now let's keep the E's fixed at 1, and let's increase the D's. So 2D and 1E. Okay, so that means D, D, E. Okay, but we have to select 2 more. Now, once again, we're down to 2 and we have to select 2. So 4C2, what's that equal to? That's also equal to 6. Why don't we choose for the D and E? Because it's fixed? Yeah, because it's fixed. And this is not probability. Because it's fixed and this is not probability. Okay, now. Then what if you have 2 D's and 2 E's? We can do that. Have we considered that? No, we haven't. So 2 D's and 2 E's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 D's and 2 E's. Acha, who's that? Rasta, please watch my yesterday's stream for permutations and combinations. Once again, you guys are mixing this up. We only do that. We only consider repetitions when we're dealing with probability. If you don't understand, just watch yesterday's stream. Okay, and watch the whole permutation combination playlist. So 4C1, that's equal to 4. Okay, then finally 2D and 3 E's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 D's and 3 E's. So if it's 2 D's and 3 E's, that means you don't have to select anything. Everything's been done. So 4C0, what's that equal to? That's equal to 1. Okay, now let's add them up. Let's see what we get. So as you add them up, you have 4 plus 6. Now, I can't explain it right now. Okay, how can I explain something that's so lengthy right now? Okay, so please don't be lazy. Watch the entire playlist of permutations and combination and watch yesterday's stream. So there you go. The answer is 25. That's it. Job done. Okay, the only time where, for example, we would have done 2C1 for selecting a D was for probability. Okay, so I'm just explaining it very briefly. But if you want to look at it in detail, watch yesterday's stream and also watch the entire playlist of permutations and combinations. Okay, how do we reliably find the number? Okay, that's a good question. It's trial and error. It's trial and error. It's trial and error. Yeah, if it was probability, that's what you would have done. 3C1 and 2C1. That's absolutely correct. If it was probability. Lengthy working for less marks, yeah. That's how it is. Okay, question number 5. Sam is a member of a soccer club. She is practicing. Wow, Sam is a girl. Thought Sam was a boy's name. The probability that Sam will score a goal on any attempt is 0.7, independently of all other attempts. Sam makes 10 attempts at scoring goals. So, how do I know? What kind of distribution is this? What kind of distribution is this? Why would it be 99? What kind of distribution is this? Oh yeah, it could be short for Samantha. Yeah, that's possible. Okay, watch my yesterday's stream. If you don't know what I'm talking about in permutations and combination, please watch my yesterday's stream. Yeah, so this is binomial. Okay, and I don't know what you guys are waiting for. I think you guys are just being plain lazy. I don't have a nice way to put it. So please watch my yesterday's stream to understand how we deal with probability with combination. Okay, so this is binomial. Find the probability that Sam will score goals on fewer than 8 of these attempts. That means we have to find out the probability of 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so if it's less than 8, if we have to find out the probability of x is less than 8, that means it would be x equals to 7 plus 6 plus 5. So that's just going to take forever. Okay, so instead what we're going to do is, instead of finding out 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we will do 1 minus the probability that she scores at least in 8 of these attempts. Okay, and what will that be equal to? That will be equal to 8, 9, and 10. So what's the probability that she scores in 8 of these attempts? So that's going to be 10C8, 0.7 raised to the power of 8, 0.3 raised to the power of 2, plus 10C9, 0.7 raised to the power of 9, into 0.3 raised to the power of 1, plus 10C10, 0.7 raised to the power of 10, and 0.3 raised to the power of 0. ठीक हो गया? Okay, so let's work this out. .617 is the answer. पक्की बात है? लिख दूँ मैं direct? So I thought this was geo. What confirmed hinted that this was binomial. But once again, I think you're just being extremely lazy. If you still think that this is geometric progression, that means you're just not putting in the effort. Okay, look at the number of trials. The number of trials is given. So that means it's definitely geometric binomial distribution. Okay, and I've done multiple streams on this also. I've done a stream on binomial, I've done a stream on geometric. I really don't know why at this point you guys are making such basic mistakes. You can't say that the exam is difficult. If these are the kind of mistakes that you guys are making, I honestly don't think that you guys can complain about the exam as being difficult. I think the problem is not the exam. The problem is that you guys are not putting in the due effort. Achha, those who are saying that I got 0.363, you probably didn't subtract from 1. The correct answer is 0.617. All right, now, part B. Find the probability that Sam's first successful attempt will be before her 5th attempt. Okay, first successful attempt will be before her 5th attempt. Now, what kind of a progression is this? Oh, sorry, not progression. I keep saying it progression. I mean distribution. This is geometric distribution. How do I know it's geometric distribution? Because after the 5th attempt, the whole thing stops. Okay? The first success, after the first success, the whole thing stops. Okay? So this is geometric. All right. So what do we want to find out? We want to find out the probability of x being less than 5. Okay, so instead of doing that, let's find out the probability of x being greater than or equal to 5. Okay, now achieving success after or taking at least 5 tries to achieve success means that failing, how many times? Failing 4 times. So what's the probability of failure? The probability of failure is 0.3 and we raise that to the power of 4. There you go. Okay, not 1 minus q raised to the power of 5, 1 minus q raised to the power of 4. Once again, if you don't understand this, please watch the geometric distribution stream that I've done. Okay, I don't know what you guys are waiting for. पेपर के बाद आप लोग पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है, if you're going to ask me how did I figure this out, how did I figure out कि हमें ये करना है, So please watch the stream that I did on geometric distribution. I've done it recently only, so that at least you can learn this concept before the exam. Okay. All right. Now, part C. Part C says okay, I'm just going to call this person W. Okay. W is a member of the soccer club. He is also practicing scoring goals. Okay, the reason why we're writing this in 4 significant figures is because this is the exact answer. Okay, this is the exact answer, so we're not going to round this off. Okay, no need to round this off. We're going to write this as 0.9919 because that's the decimal value that you're getting in your calculator. Have a look, you're getting 0.9919. So no need to round this off. Okay, you only round off when the decimals don't end. But if your value is already up to 4 decimal places, then there's no need to round off. Okay, please read the instructions. The instruction says that round off non-exact values. When it's an exact value, irrespective of the number of decimal places, we write it as it is. Will our marks be deducted? Of course your marks will be deducted because you will lose 1 mark for the final answer. Okay, V is going to keep making until he scores 3 goals. Find the probability that he scores his 3rd goal on his 7th attempt. Okay, 3rd goal on his 7th attempt. So what do the first 6 look like? What do the first 6 attempts look like? The first 6 attempts look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5, here's 6, here's 7. Find the probability that he scores his 3rd goal. Okay, so emphasis on the word 3rd on his 7th attempt. So that means there's got to be a goal here. Okay. Now, as far as the first 6 is concerned, okay, and remember, this has to be the 3rd goal. As far as the first 6 attempts are concerned, in the first 6 attempts, there must be 2 goals. Okay, and they can be in any order. That doesn't matter. In the first 6 attempts, there must be 2 goals. But in the 7th attempt, there's got to be a goal, and that's got to be the 3rd and the final goal. Okay, so that means here's what we can do. No goal, no goal, no goal, no goal, goal, goal. Okay. Now remember, this can happen in any order. Okay, this can happen in any order. Okay, however, this is non-negotiable. Okay, this, however, is non-negotiable. The 3rd goal must be in the 7th attempt, okay? But as far as the first 6 attempts are concerned, in the first 6 attempts, there's got to be 2 goals. That's it. That's all we care about, okay? So, here's what we're going to do. Here is what we're going to do. For the first 6, pay close attention. For the first 6, this is what the working is going to be. The working would be, so what's the probability of scoring a goal? The probability of scoring a goal is equals to 0.6. And what's the probability of not scoring a goal? That would be 0.4. Okay? No, not binomial. Yeah, but you can say binomial distribution for the first 6 attempts. Okay? Yeah, you could say that. So 0.6 raised to the power of 1. Sorry, not 0.6. 0.4, since that's the probability of not scoring a goal. 0.4 raised to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0.4 raised to the power of 4 into 0.6 raised to the power of 2. Now, because this can happen in any order, okay, because this can happen in any order, we have to consider all the possible orders in which this can happen, and that would be 6 factorial divided by 4 factorial into 2 factorial. Why 6 factorial divided by 4 factorial into 2 factorial? Because there are a total of 6 letters, you can say, okay, of which 4 are the same, so that's 4 factorial, and of which 2 are also the same, so that's 6 factorial. Okay, so this is basically the working for the first 6, and then for the final one, that's going to be 0.6. That's it. Okay, or yes, you could also do 6C4. That's perfectly all right. Okay, now this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. There's no other way. I'll give you guys a summary of it. ठीक है, और इस तरह के questions तो बेटा बहुत आते हैं. There are so many questions like this in the exam. So this shouldn't be a surprise to you guys anymore, honestly. If you're getting surprised by these questions, what will happen when there is like a genuine surprise? Into 0.6. So we're looking at 0.082944. Okay, and this also is exact, so we're not going to round this off. 0.082944. Okay, so I'll go over this again. Yeah, you can do the first 6 with binomial also. Okay, you can do the first 6 with binomial also. That's perfectly all right. Okay. So here's the thing. The story here is that he should score his third goal on his 7th attempt. That's it. That means in the first 6, he has to score 2 goals, but that can happen in any order. Now, because this can happen in any order, you can use binomial here also. Okay, you can use binomial here also. Okay, so you could do this. In the first 6, you can do binomial. Just make sure that he scores 2 goals. So that will actually be 6c2, not 6c4, 6c2. So 6c2 into 0.6 raised to the power of 2 and 0.4 raised to the power of 6 minus 2, which is equal to 4. Okay, you can do it with binomial also. And then don't forget, for the 7th attempt, he has to score a goal, so that's 0.6. So this is for the first 6 and this is for the 7th. This is the alternative method. First 6 and then the 7th. Okay, now the method that I've used is normal probability, the kind that we do in discrete random variable. So there's got to be 2 goals, and that can happen in any order. So that means 4 no goals and 2 goals. So that's 0.4 times 4 into 0.6 squared. And we also have to consider all the possible orders in which this can happen. So here it is. And there you go. This is how you do it. Question 1 part 3. तहा बेटा इतनी सुस्ती अच्छी बात नहीं है. Stream को तो आगे पीछे आप करके देख सकते हैं. ठीक है? Alright, now question number 6, which I believe is the last question. Achha, just give me a minute. I'm just going to go grab my tea. Okay. I'm just going to go grab my tea. Read my question. Sir, अगर इसमें भी 3 significant figures दे दिया, हाँ तो बेटा marks कटने का डर है, क्योंकि once again, the answer that I've written is the exact answer. Okay. मैंने डिनोमिनेटर में एक चीज़ मिस कर दी, but I got the correct answer, so I'm pretty sure I didn't. Yeah, chai is a must. If you write it correct to 4 significant, सिर्फ 4 significant figures दे दिया तो बेटा you have, since this is the exact answer, you have to write all the decimal places. Okay, so I don't know why we're still discussing that. We've gone over this multiple times since it's the exact answer. So red or blue भी हो सकता था, नहीं हो सकता था. अच्छा ताहा, let me finish this question, फिर I'll go back. Okay, फिर I'll go back to the question that you're talking about. Okay, a company sells small and large bag of rice. Okay, the masses of the small bags of rice are normally distributed with mean 1.2 and standard deviation 0.16. So that means these rices are normally distributed with mean 1.2 and the standard deviation 0.16. Now we always write variance, so we write 0.16 squared. Okay. In a random sample of 500 of these small bags of rice, how many would you expect to have a mass greater than 1.26? That means we need to find out the probability of mass being greater than 1.26. Okay. अच्छा, इसमें 176, 177 दोनों acceptable होगा, ठीक है? Because I think the answer would be what, 176.37, something like that. So both is acceptable. So first, since this is greater than, so that means we will do 1 minus phi of 1.26 minus 1.2 divided by the standard deviation, which is 0.16. Okay, so let's work this out. 1 minus phi of 1.26 minus 1.2 over 0.16. So that's equal to 0.375. Okay, can we find out phi of 0.375? What do you guys say? Is it possible to find out phi of 0.375? Yeah, it is. We can't find phi inverse of 0.375, but we can find phi of 0.375. Achha ji, so Here's MF19, phi of 0.375. So 0.37, that's right here. 0.6443. What are we adding in it? We're adding 19. Okay. So 0.6443 plus 0.0019. So that's equal to 0.6462. So 1 minus 0.6462, what's that equal to? 1 minus the answer, that's equal to 0.3538. 3538. And since we're talking about 500 of these bags, so we'll multiply it by 500. So let's see, what do we get? We get 176.9. So आप 176 भी बोल सकते हैं, आप 177 भी बोल सकते हैं, ठीक है? Because 176 is the complete value and 177, they're both acceptable. Okay, so please no need to start a debate over it. They're both acceptable by the examiner, so there's no point in us sitting and debating over this. Because they want to reuse it. The reason why they don't say to write anything, because they probably want to reuse it. But you can write on it, it's no problem. As long as you're not writing your name, that's perfectly all right. Yes, Studio Art, I think you've just woken up. Because in the stream that I did for normal distribution, I taught exactly how to use your calculator and how to use it for normal distribution. Now part B. Part B says the masses of these large bags are normally distributed, but remember, you're only supposed to use your calculator to check your answer. Okay, the masses of large bags are normally distributed with mean 2.5 and standard deviation sigma. 20% of these large bags of rice have mass less than 2.4. That means the probability of x being less than 2.4 is equal to 20%. 20% means 20 upon 100. Okay, now, x is normally distributed with mean 2.5 and variance sigma squared. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now, x is less than 2.4 will basically be the same as phi of, let's look at the amount of space, plenty. Phi of 2.4 minus 2.5. Okay, we're not going to do 1 minus, no need to do that, upon sigma. Okay, and what's that equal to? That's equal to 0.2. Okay, now when we take phi across the equals to sign, it becomes phi inverse. So minus 0.1 upon sigma, okay, is equals to phi inverse of 0.2. Now can we find phi inverse of 0.2? No, we can't. We can't find phi inverse of 0.2. Okay, why? Because the least value is 0.5. So what do we do in this case? We subtract it from 1 and we multiply either side of the equation by minus. Okay, so we do minus phi inverse of 0.8. Okay, what have I done? Subtract from 1 and multiply by minus. Okay, so phi inverse of 0.8. Phi inverse of 0.8. Okay, so 7881, 7910, 7995. Okay, this looks nice. 0.8. अच्छा यहाँ पे दिया हुआ होता है शायद. Phi inverse of 0.8. नहीं दिया हुआ. Okay, that sucks. चलो कोई बात नहीं. Phi inverse of 0.8. 0.8, 0.8, 0.8. Where were we? 0.7995. So this is 0.84. And what do we need to add? We need to add a 5. Is there a 5? Okay, thank God there is. So 0.842. Okay, 0.842. There you go. So that means minus 0.1 upon sigma is equals to minus of 0.842. Okay, so minus minus cancel. 0.1 divided by 0.842. What's that equal to? That's equal to. Acha, dekho, now this is not an exact value. Okay, this is not an exact value. This is a value which has so many decimal places. So this value we will round off correct to the 3 significant figures. So this would be equal to 0.11876. But when we round off correct to 3 significant figures, it would be 0.119. That's sigma. Yeah, you can multiply the other side by minus. That's perfectly all right. तो बेटा गेमर आपका कब इरादा है इम्प्रूव करने का? समर वेकेशन में? समर वेकेशन में आराम से एग्ज़ाम से फारिग होकर तब आप इम्प्रूव करेंगे? When do we use critical values of the table? When the value is such that it falls in the critical values. Like for example, if let's say we were finding out phi inverse of 0.75, so that's already given in the table. If let's say we were finding out phi inverse of 0.9, that's already given in the table. Okay. So do we need to write 170? No, you don't need to write 176 and 177. You just need to write 1. Okay, and they're both acceptable. सर मैं बिना फाई लिख के निकालता हूँ मीन और स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन. Better don't do that. Okay, make the examiner's job as easy as possible. Okay. Yeah, this was 3 marks. Now the last part. Let's see what this says. A random sample of 80 large bags of rice is chosen. Okay, so I hope nobody at this point is wondering what to do here. Okay, if let's say you end up making a calculation error or something like that, that's still, although not acceptable, but I would still understand. But I hope nobody after reading this question is still wondering, okay, what kind of approximation do we have to use? Okay, if you're using your calculator, make sure that you show all the working. I've gone over this multiple times and I've mentioned, every time I mention the calculator, I always mention that you have to show your working. This is from binomial to normal. Okay, this is from binomial to normal. A random sample of 80 large bags of rice is chosen. Use a suitable approximation to find out the probability that fewer than 22 of these large bags of rice have a mass less than 0.24. Okay, have a mass of less than 2.4. Sorry, I said 2.4, 0.24. Achha, what's the probability of having a mass of less than 2.4? Have you worked that out? Achha, what are we talking about? We're talking about, let's see. Yeah. So 20% is the probability of having mass less than 2.4. Okay. So that becomes the probability of success, which is equal to 0.2, which means the probability of failure is equal to 0.8. Okay, let's just confirm less than 2.4. And here the question says 20% of these large bags have a mass less than 2.4. Okay, you just make sure that you're reading it carefully so you don't end up making error. And n is equals to what? N is equals to 80. Now remember, when you're converting it from binomial to normal, here's how this works. The normal approximation has mean, which is NP, and variance, which is NPQ. Okay? So NP means 80 times 0.2, which I believe is 16, but let's use a calculator here. Okay, and then 16 times 0.8, which is equal to 12.8. Now remember, this is variance. Okay, this is mean and sigma squared. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now we're supposed to find out the probability that fewer than 22. So x is less than 22. So what are we going to do? Are we going to do 22? Are we going to do 21.5? Are we going to do 22.5? What do you guys suggest? Or are we just going to go ahead and do 22? What do you guys say? 21.5. Good job. Continuity correction. So since it's less than, that means straight away the phi value will be equal to the probability. Okay, so phi of, okay, thank God, I 32.5. माशाल्लाह बेटा, ये तो आप अलग ही लेवल पे चले गए. 21.5 minus 16 divided by the standard deviation, which is square root of 12.8. Okay, let's work this out. 21.5 minus 16 over square root of 12.8. So what's that equal to? That's equal to 1.537. So sigma is equals to, sigma keh raha hu, a phi of 1.537. Now let's find out the probability. What's phi of 1.537? So 1.53, that's right here, 1.53, and then 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. That's right here. So 0.9378. There you go. 0.9378. That's the answer. So the answer is 0.9378. And that, fellas, is the end of this mock. Now, who here got full marks? Honest. Okay, be honest. In fact, just tell me your marks. Just tell me your honest marks. Even if you haven't gotten good marks, just tell me what you've ended up with. Binomial method for part C. Okay. Why not 19.5? Why would you take 19.5? Because it's less than 22. So you take 21.5. Why would you take 19.5? Okay. So I think everybody should have scored 40 plus in this. Okay, I think everybody should have scored 40 plus in this. Marking scheme, beta, I'll upload this solution in the same folder. Okay, I don't have the marking scheme for this because I've compiled it from different years, but I'll upload this solution in the same folder. Okay, I don't have time to compile the marking scheme, but I will upload the solution. So anything above 40, I would say is good. Okay, anything above 40 is good. Okay. How many decimal places should be there to start considering rounding off? So see if your calculator, if your answer is something like this, like for example here, 1.5 जैसे यहाँ पे आया ना हमारा. अब ये में, this is definitely a non-exact answer. So we have to what? We have to round this off. Okay, and we have to round this off, and we will do it correct to 3 significant figures. So I keep on forgetting key points in some questions. Go over the notes. Go over the notes. Okay, if you draw a bell curve, that's perfectly all right. If you draw a bell curve, that's perfectly all right. Okay, now what should we do next? Should we have another mock or should I do a... So if I stream next, ideally I would like to keep it on permutations and combinations. And if I do a mock, that means जो भी करना है कल करना है. क्योंकि परसों we will do a syllabus run through. So how about tomorrow? When's P3? Just a minute, don't go anywhere. So P3 is... P3 19th को है. So that means P3 की stream को मैं, but P3 नहीं, I don't want to delay that for too long. So let's try and keep both. Okay, let's try and keep both. So we have tomorrow, we have day after. 14th की morning को कर लूँ syllabus run through. बेटा सारे chapters हमेशा टेस्ट नहीं होते, ठीक है? कभी कभी ग्राफ वाला चैप्टर नहीं भी टेस्ट होता. So that's why. Yeah, I don't have many streams on P3, you're right. If z value comes non-exact, then z value is always taken correct to 3 decimal places. Why? Because z value can only be calculated correct to 3 decimal places. Okay, so remember, z value, because there is 1 decimal, 2nd decimal, 3rd decimal. So z value is always taken correct to 3 decimal places. Sir, question 1 part 3. अच्छा हाँ, ये question 1 part 3. Mock on the 14th. That's a good idea. सुबह सुबह mock रख लेते हैं, क्या ख्याल है? और मैं बना लेता हूँ बहुत ही मुश्किल mock. नहीं खैर, I wouldn't do that इंशाल्लाह. अच्छा, what's that? question 1 का part 3. हाँ तो बेटा इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है आपको? दोनों में से ब्लू आनी है तो फिर हम रेड ब्लू क्यों कंसिडर करेंगे? न्यूमरेटर में जब दोनों में से ब्लू आनी है तो फिर हम रेड ब्लू क्यों कंसिडर करेंगे? यही बोल रहे थे ना आप उस वक्त. Why would you do that? सवाल तो पढ़ो. A में से भी ब्लू आनी चाहिए, ब्लू में से B में से भी ब्लू आनी चाहिए. Denominator में, however, says that the ball from box B should be blue. So that's why we considered both. We considered red blue and we considered blue blue. Acha, who's this person who's shouting? Sir, please tell how to fix my calculator to give answer in fractions. First I reset, now it gives answer in decimal, then I have to press a button for fraction. I don't think, Isba, that you did like a proper reset. So press shift 9 3 equals to AC. Okay. But I just answered your question. Shift 9 3 equals to AC. Here's how you guys reset your calculator. So this is what you do. Press shift, press 9, press 3, press equals to, press AC. There you go. Beta, I am answering your question. No need to shout first of all, and no need to spam. Several probability and statistics marks only be counted, and your maths paper marks will not be counted. But I can't say that. Okay, let's wait for the official announcement. So you have to wait for that. Sir, question 1 का part 3 सर डिनोमिनेटर शायद आपने गलत निकाला है. बेटा नहीं गलत निकाला, सब सही है, आंसर भी सही आ रहा है. So I don't know what is the problem. Everything's correct. So I don't know what the problem is. ठीक है, it's all correct. अच्छा, what's that? Explain. Yeah, okay, so let me explain that. Binomial for 5 part C. So basically in the first 6 attempts he should score 2 goals. Correct? First 6 attempts he should score 2 goals because we already know what he's doing in the 7th attempt. In the 7th attempt he's also scoring a goal. So how many ways can he score 2 goals in the first 6 attempts? That's 6C2. 6 is the total number of trials, 2 is the number of successes. So 6C2, probability of success raised to the number of times you want him to be successful. Wait, Sam's a girl. No, this is W. Raised to the number of times you want to score goals, so that's 2, and then 0.4 raised to the power of 4, which is equal to, which is basically, if he's scoring 2 goals, then that means he's scoring. The remaining 4 attempts, he's not scoring a goal. Okay, so that's why we use binomial. अच्छा, असर ब्रेक नहीं बेटा, अब तो असर तो मैं पढ़ के ही बैठा था, अब स्ट्रीम एंड हो रही है. Why 6C2? 6 is the total number of trials, 2 is the number of successes. That's why 6C2. So how do we do distribution on calculator? Acha, please don't be lazy. Once again, we have another extremely lazy person here. I've done a stream on normal distribution in which I've taught how to use a calculator. Please check it out. Okay? You can't just learn things on demand. You have to put in the effort. So why is there multiplying of 0.6 at the end? Because the 7th attempt, he has to score a goal. Okay, so I guess you probably figured that out. Anyway, so I'm going to stop here. I'll see you guys inshallah. I will see you guys inshallah tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So take care everyone. Keep studying. Okay, please go over the notes. The kind of questions that not all of you, but majority of you ask me just shows that you guys haven't been revising, haven't been going over the notes, because you're asking me some very basic questions. Not all of you, but most of you. Okay, so I'll stop here. Please go over the notes, go over all the streams that I've done, especially normal distribution. That's very important, especially permutation combination, very important. Binomial distribution doesn't carry a lot of marks, but it's easy, free marks really. Then there is geometric distribution. I've done that recently. Make sure to do that. Discrete random variable, I'll see if I get the time, but I think Sir Zain is streaming that tonight, so watch that. And tomorrow I'll probably do a mock, and let's see if I can do a stream on a topic also. Let's see. So good luck for tomorrow's exam. Take care. Jate, if you haven't subscribed, please do that. And also, what was that? And also like the stream if you haven't done that. Okay, so take care. Allah Hafiz. See you tomorrow.